right? Like,
It's the 21st century.
Yeah, we're there.
Ouch.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Hello. How are you?
Hey!
All right. Welcome to Find Your Niche. A very aggressively titled. You're gonna find your niche at the end of this, by the end of this panel, or else.
Or die trying.
Or die trying. As a quick reminder, as we get started, the Dragon Con charity partner for 2023 is CURE. CURE is dedicated to conquering childhood cancer through funding targeted research while supporting patients and their families. Use the QR codes to donate. Dragon Con matches up to $125,000, so make them do it.
Take their money, y'all.
Take the money.
Make them give their money.
Take
Also,
their money, give it to kids.
Our track sponsor for 2023 is Zakat. For over 22 years, they've been empowering lives through disaster relief, food distribution, orphan care, and more. Their top-notch ratings from Charity Navigator and BBB Wise Giving Alliance means your contributions are going to make a difference. Zakat.org. So we got a couple of QR codes down in front of the table. One of them will bring you to Donate for Cure. One of them will bring you to the link tree for the Dragon Con digital media track, where you can join our Discord, where if you have not found your niche by the end of this panel, you can interact and collaborate with other creators and do it on another time.
One of them will bring you to Gwen's Noise Project. Get excited.
So thank you all for coming out today. I'm Steph Cragnola. I am moderating this panel with a bunch of incredible panelists who have such a wide range of projects and interests and specialties. So I'm going to let them speak for themselves, starting with Mike.
Hey everybody, my name is Mike Cragnola. I am a performer and improviser and podcaster and streamer. I guess my pronouns are he, him, and I would say that the niche that I found is in sports adjacent conversations.
There's a lot of question marks. You gotta put some periods on this.
So there are a lot of people who
Right.
talk about tactics, and there are a lot of people who talk about major news. My show focuses on how cute the boys are, and how nice they dress, and what their relationship is on the field. You can tell so and so's best friends because they pass the ball to each other all the time. You know, that kind of deep insight into the game.
Okay.
We also interview a dog before every match for our local team, because our team has partnered with a local charity, a local nonprofit shelter, and we want to help raise awareness for that. So we try to do, a lot of different peripheral stuff in the sports space.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Danique Cosplay, aka Dana.
Hello, everyone. I have very multifaceted. I am a photographer. I also am an event planner. I'm the line producer for the BOP for Karen Ashley, the Yellow Power Ranger. I am an executive producer and co-host of my own show, the Moana Nui Podcast. And that's the short list. And as far as my niche, with photography side, I try to focus my photography with partnering with Cosplay Your Way to really focus on those that, to make you realize you can cosplay however you want. Doesn't matter your size, your age. I like to bring a lot of movement and action, especially if you're in a cosplay, to represent your character. On the show, The Bop, it is chaos in a box. It's Karen, and she has two other co-hosts. Chrissy Renee, who is her fellow, before she became a Power Ranger, she was part of the group Crush, and Chrissy Renee is one of her fellow group members. And also Hilton George, the founder of BlurCon. The three of them talk everything from pop culture, the newest movies that are out, politics, and the craziness that happens on social media. And occasionally I get pulled from behind the camera to be brought on the camera to play referee.
Wait. There's crazy stuff on social media? What?
You know,
It's out there.
it's out there.
Channing, I can forward you some links if you want.
If you need it. And the Moana Nui podcast, me and my co-host, we're both from the islands of Hawaii. And we wanted a podcast that focused on indigenous cultures, but also BIPOC community and especially women, to give them a voice and a safe space that they can come. And we have everything from indie creators to talk about their projects. We talk about things that are going on right now. Our biggest thing is we are focusing on what's going on in Maui. And of course, also there's the fires that are happening in Oahu, Big Island of Hawaii, Hilo. So those are not getting as much noise as Maui, but they're happening. So we want to give awareness and give people and have everything from mental health discussions to helping to develop your talent with someone that comes on and talk everything about how to ask for a raise to how to navigate different aspects. So we try to keep it very well-rounded so that no matter what you're interested in, there's something for you.
Can you link the how to get a raise panel?
Right,
I don't know about
right.
y'all, but like, that's relevant to me.
Yeah. Can we just change this panel to that?
Yeah, I'm gonna push back.
Yeah.
Welcome to Get a Raise.
Get that money.
Alon the Dungeon Mouster.
Yeah, I'm Alon the Dungeon Mouster. I got started running tabletop games and cat sanctuaries to raise money for TNR and different other cat charity organizations. From there, it kind of spiraled into me becoming I co-created Goblins and Growlers, building an inclusive community through tabletop gaming, just trying to lower the barrier to entry to gaming and create a safe space for a ton of different people and different GMs from different backgrounds, especially queer backgrounds, which is my background, to be able to find safe spaces to do collaborative storytelling. From there, I became a professional performer. I get hired by conventions all up and down the East Coast to run Celebra D&D with voice actors, as well as Mad Lib Tabletop and other professional performances. And occasionally I get thrown in with Hoku props or something to like try to destroy something, which is fun. And then I now have a publishing branch through Goblins and Growlers as well. We do some publishing for indie tabletop creators, mostly through South America. And we have a 501c3 spinning up because I think we've donated about $80,000 to charities, and we're getting to that point where we can't be a pass-through organization. Yeah. So that's really, really awesome. Very fortunate to be able to do all that in my professional bill-paying life, because I'm very fortunate to have this kind of balancing thing. I am a communications and marketing manager for North and South America for environmental infrastructure firms, and do consulting around that. So, yeah, that's me.
Hashtag Team No Sleep.
Right?
Right.
Whole panel,
So
right?
much, so much coffee.
Okay.
Right.
All right, coming up, the best Channing I know, Channing Sherman.
So I don't know why I sat here, because I don't want to follow you. This is like, this is like going from Idris Elba to Kevin Hart. It's just like this big jump.
Those are both good things.
Yeah, I guess it depends on your taste, you know. I mean, if you're on a dating show, you might want to. But anyway, my name is Channing Sherman. I'm one of the co-founders of the Black Geeks of Dragon Con. We promote diversity, and I always say it is not a protest, it is a party. Just to kind of show this other slice of life here.
Que no los dos.
Yes. I've worked in digital media for about 20 years now. So I've worked in social media, web development, web strategy, the whole nine. I'm also the host of a new podcast called The Smarty Art Brother, of which I have at least 2 fans up here. But we're getting there. We're coming back. We're coming back. Yes. Gonna have a lot more. So I kind of found my intersection, oddly enough, at diversity, and it happened totally by accident. We'll get into it later. So it was one of those situations where it chose me more than I chose it. I'm perfectly fine with it. And happy to be here with these amazing people, and I kind of feel like I should just go sit in the audience so I can learn something.
No way.
You learn everything on these panels. It's always like,
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
taking notes.
Yes. And I will say, if I don't get a raise soon, my specialty will become OnlyFans real quick.
Yeah.
do it.
Channel for that tomorrow night.
And last but certainly not least, it's Bar Fox, aka Ken. Hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hello. Well, first of all, I'm going to be a fan of your new podcast, even though I didn't hear it yet, but I know it's going to be great.
It's
Working on it,
honestly,
working
it's
on it,
so
working on
good.
it.
Already going to be great. So I am Bar Fox, 2 R's, 2 X's. I am a television and film producer. I worked for Magic Johnson. Now I currently work for Tyler Perry. So I've had some wonderful moguls in my life to be a mentee to. I am also the owner, creator of Cosplay Your Way. Hopefully you know about it. If not, get
Let's
into
go.
it.
Yeah.
I work with a wonderful photographer up here, Dana, who helps bring my images to life. And Cosplay Your Way was set to make sure that people of different races, different abilities, different sexual orientations, everything has a welcoming invite into the world of cosplay and that they can feel safe. And I do everything I can to make sure that is instituted and to ensure that they can cosplay and do it their way. And that's what we are definitely adamant about. And with that being said, I have a wonderful, wonderful cosplay documentary called Cosplay Your Way in Color that has won 2 Tully Awards so far.
Let's go.
So we are pushing for that. Hopefully I will be able to announce some great news in the next couple of weeks of some other platforms that it will be going to. I'm going to wait until it happens so I don't jinx it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, thank you everyone who supports and follows and who are just open to creativity and letting creators create, because we need you. Thank you.
It does not happen.
Wow. All right. Well, that was a set of introductions. So, again, I kind of mentioned it aggressively at the top of this, but this panel is Find Your Niche.
Or Die Trying.
Or Die Trying. We're really hoping to open this up to y'all and make it more of a workshop vibe. If you are struggling, I know we all have, and that's the next question that I'm going to toss to you all, so get ready. How do you find your niche? If you have a bunch of different hobbies or interests that feel like you're just throwing spaghetti at every podcast creator or every podcast platform that you can find, how do you bring it all together and make yourself stand out? Do you want to start a D&D podcast? Everyone and their mom has a D&D podcast now. So how do you find what makes you stand out? Because there's no reason not to do it just because there's a lot.
Yes.
So we're here today to try and help you find your special story and what makes you stand out from all of the rest of the noise in your space.
Nice.
So I'm gonna ask y'all to give a little bit of a, as Channing mentioned, your niche found you. But let's start with you, Channing, and then we'll cycle back through. How did you find that niche, or how did you get inspired to make your place?
So it kind of started, like I mentioned, by accident and also as a joke. I've been coming to Dragon Con for a while, and I'm not a professional photographer, but I do like to take pictures. And I take pictures and I post them. And one year I just kind of posted some pictures on Facebook, and it's kind of a thing. There weren't a lot of people of color at these conventions. It was just a known fact. And so somebody once said, "Oh, were there a lot of? I guess you were the only black person there." And I was like, "No, here's a couple." And so I just collected some photos that I took and said, "Oh, here's some black geeks." And in the years that would follow, I kind of made it my mission. Whenever I saw somebody black and in cosplay, I would chase them down. To the point where from 2010 to 2015, I may have been on a watch list. Because
I don't know why this guy wants all our pictures.
Right.
Full sprint.
Right, exactly. Which is hilarious, because as somebody who never talked to girls in high school, I could see a group of women in cosplay, and I would sprint over to them to take that picture. So I don't know what happened between those years. Right, exactly. So yeah, it started by that, and then one year I was I may have or may not have been having some drinks with some family, and one of them said, "Hey, why don't you just have a photo shoot and have them come to you instead of, you know, chasing them around like a madman. I was probably embarrassing them. I think that was the other reason why they suggested it. And that's kind of how the Black Geeks Dragon Con was formed. And then it just kind of became more to that. There's a couple of people up here would tell you, it's kind of become a family reunion. You have this group of Black cosplayers. One, they didn't know there were that many. And two, they may only see each other 1 or 2 times a year. So it's really a family reunion. And like I say, it is not a protest, it's a party. So it's just a chance for us to kind of get together, celebrate cosplayers of color and our allies. And because of that, it's just kind of become my thing. You know, somehow or another, I've become the other diversity person at Dragon Con. Not complaining, but yeah, I've just kind of noticed that.
Head.
Yes. I'm still waiting for my badge. But yes, not complaining. It's been a lot of fun. You see, exactly. Thank you. Yes.
Well, I mean, you said earlier that it kind of found you, but it does feel like you created this community, and I don't want you to undervalue the work that you put in chasing people.
Yeah.
Yes.
The miles run.
Yes. If I had had a Fitbit back then, it probably would have exploded.
Okay.
Yes, there have been times I ran across Peachtree in rush hour traffic to get people. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You were dedicated.
Yes, I was dedicated. I think,
dedicated.
this is actually one of the first people I took a picture of, because naturally, you know, Jabbar loved the camera.
When you're a professional. I mean,
you know, it's one of those things.
The camera loves him.
Yes, it could go either way.
Two-way street.
So it did find me, and I will say a little bit of shame here. I think if I had known how big it was gonna get, I can't say that I would have done it. And I'm being totally honest, because I'm like, okay, this is a lot. And if something goes wrong,
It's on you?
yeah, it's on me. So I'm kind of glad I didn't know what it was going to grow into, because I may not have done it.
Yeah, that great power, great responsibility,
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. Well, I mean, this was one of our photographers one year over here, did a great job, and I'm always getting advice. So yeah, it is definitely a community.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I think that's one of the things that makes it stand out too, is that it is a community where it is tangible one time a year or more, and you bring them together. Let's jump to someone who has found a lot of success in, there's so much cosplay, there's so much noise in cosplay, there's so much noise in documentary filmmaking, right? You've chosen 2 very big fields to make your mark in.
What's wrong with me?
Well, let's
Glutton
hear
for
it.
punishment.
Why don't you tell us? Yeah, how did you
What
kind of narrow
happened?
in?
Tell us what's wrong with you.
Okay, this is what's wrong with me. My problem is I fight for the underdogs. I fight for people that I feel are being disrespected and overlooked. So one time at Dragon Con, I sat in a line and I watched a photographer take pictures of people and was spending 10, 15 minutes with them, 20 minutes, really getting great shots, and I was very excited. There were some people in line in front of me, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what they do with their poses, because I'm just that guy, fair is fair. And then when those people stepped up, this photographer was like, done, thank you. And I was like, what in the hell? Who's in here? So what in the hell did I just see? And I was like, wait a minute. And I asked the guy, I said, did you take their picture? Did you even take their picture? And he was like, yeah. I said, can I see it? And it was none of my business. I was just in everybody's business. And he was like, I mean, such and such. I said, you know what? Instead of arguing with people, let me create a space or create something where they can come and be treated fairly. And that's how Cosplay Your Way was born. Because I'm like, I think that guy was like, well, their cosplay is not this and not this. And I was like, I work in the industry, and I put on events and I do things with people that are bigger, better, and more fantastic than you, and they're not this rude. You don't come into a public space and utilize that talent and then say, you can't come, you can't come. If that's the case, get a private room and everybody pays to go in there, or you have a select people that you invite. Don't go into the middle of the room where everybody is there and say, only you, you, and you, and you. That's just tacky. So I created Cosplay Your Way because of that, because I'm like, you're gonna get treated fair. If it's your first picture, if it's your 78th picture, you are going to.
You're there. I'm fixing it.
Are you fixing the mic?
I'm gonna treat you right.
Okay,
Bob.
treat me right. All right, this is why I love this man. Make sure I'm good.
This is your moment.
This is my moment.
There we go.
So I wanted to make sure you were treated correctly, and then also I saw that people were not being seen. As to piggyback off of what you said, I was running into individuals who did not think people of color had a space in this place. And I'm looking like, yes, they do. I'm one of them. I'm of color. I'm here. So I was like, you know what? I need to create something where they're seen. So we definitely brainstorm. I was like, I want to do Cos Noir in February. We shoot cosplayers every year, and we drop them in February, and we do a cosplayer every day for the month. And we just spotlight them, sometimes 1 or 2 looks, just to make sure they're seen and pushed, so nobody can say that they don't see people of color cosplaying. And we are not stuck to just characters of color. They do it all.
Yes.
I'm Jericho, I'm Gambit, I'm everybody I want to be. I'm not Black Gambit, I'm not Black Jericho. So that's how it became. And then because I do what I do for a living, the documentary was just a natural evolution for that. Because again, I'm fighting for the underdogs. I'm like, not enough people are recognizing, not enough people are seeing. And so I push through again. One day somebody's gonna slap me down, but until then, Firefox is gonna keep pushing until I can't anymore. And I support so many people, LGBTQ, people that are dealing with weight issues. Like, everybody has a space and a place, and we don't have the right to disrespect them or tell them they can't do this just because of our own biases.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Show them how you throw the card, Gambit.
Okay.
That's Gambit.
That's perfect.
It was
That's perfect.
incredible. Yeah, we'll fix it in
Fix that in
post.
post.
I love that. If anyone tries to slap you down, I feel like you have such a massive community of people who will stand right back up.
Just throw the hat up.
Yeah,
Throw
exactly.
the hat up there. You go. Well, in the bandana, the headband, yeah.
All right, Mike, what about you?
Yeah, so I guess for me, I started a D&D podcast. Wow, shocker! A guy that looks like me has a D&D podcast. You never would have believed it. But this was like kind of 7 years ago, I guess at this point, and we were obsessed with the TV show Lost. Yeah, see, you know. And so we
You can
wanted to
stay.
build a narrative that like had real deep character, like growth and like story that like had a ton of lore behind it. Maybe you don't get all the answers, but like they're in there somewhere, and maybe the characters are the most important part of the journey, right? And so we joke that it ended up being like a fantasy radio play where the dice rolls determined what actually happened versus like a D&D show, right? We didn't really know the rules. We weren't worried about the rules. There are plenty of shows out there that know how to play the game, but we wanted to tell a story and do it as close to the rules as we felt, you know, like we wanted to. Yeah. This, right? And so with that in mind, like we made this show for us, and then when we got a professional soccer team in Austin, Texas, Austin FC became almost all of my focus. I am a sports obsessive, and the shows that existed, there was a show for fan reactions, right? So after the match, people's feelings are raw and real. So there was a show that captured that. There's a show that talks about the strategy of the game and the tactics that the team is playing, and they do match recaps and previews. There wasn't a show that talked about their social media. And I love our players. I think their personalities and their humanity is what makes me fall in love with my team, right? We have a very young player on the team who has a TikTok that is absolutely hysterical because he hasn't realized he's famous yet, right? So he takes videos of himself on the toilet, like playing the TikTok games or whatever. And so like I talk about that on the show because it's hilarious. And like I bring the stuff that I want to hear and the stuff that Steph wants to hear to that show. And it turns out people want to hear that stuff. People want to know who the people are that they're cheering for. And so there's a space for us there, and it's amazing. Like, just doing the thing that you love is what has found our audiences. And then we connect on like a real way, because I know now if you listen to Swoon Tower, you care about the boys in the way that I care about the boys.
Care about the boys.
I just want to say I follow Mike on Twitter, and I live in Lake Charles, Louisiana, nowhere near Austin. I am invested in the team because of your Twitter account. I know nothing about soccer, nothing, zero, but I'm invested in this team, and if I ever make it to Austin.
You're coming.
I'm going to go to a game.
Next to us. You text me and we're in.
Wait, I heard if. You mean when?
Yes, when.
All right, Dana, another field, I feel like we're hitting them. D&D podcast, cosplay, like every massive sports, just every massive I don't know,
space
genre medium. Yeah. So how did you carve your path in photography and in cosplay?
Well, photography, my start started with my grandfather. He was a photographer for the U.S. Army during like Vietnam and things like that, and a person of color being a photographer. And so I was always fascinated with that. And as a kid, he literally gave me my first camera. And he literally told me, it's like, moments become memories for those that are there, and your pictures will become experiences for those that aren't there. So that became my path for taking pictures, and never went to school, never had formal training. I always shot for those moments. And as Bar Fox could know, like when I started work with Cosplay Your Way, I am about like, okay, work with me right here. My vision is right here, and we're gonna make this happen. And we'll shoot the pictures, and I wanted to give it that authentic look and feel, whether it's a cosplayer, whether I'm doing a family event, getting those moments of a birthday party or a quinceañera or anything like that. I wanted to be that when those family members or anybody see those pictures, they are excited, they're happy to see those pictures, and they want to share with others. And biggest part was just kind of like how Jabbar and Channing was talking about, is seeing how, because I'm new to the cosplay scene. I didn't get into the cosplay and con scene until 2016, because my leaders that I supported gave that to me as a stretch goal, to come to a con and elevate my photography by coming into this environment. But I started seeing as a staff photographer how other photographers were being with cosplayers if they weren't a certain look and everything. And I was like, oh no. I'm highly known to chase someone just like Channing across a conference room full.
It wasn't creepy when you did it.
No, because I hold up my badge. Hi.
I'm not a weirdo. I learned.
I'm a staff photographer, and I would like to take a picture. And the instant reaction I always get is, me? And I'm like, yes, you look amazing. I want to take some shots. And I started doing that. And then, of course, like I said, I work with Cosplay Your Way to help amplify that. So it's just one of those that anyone who has a passion for photography and you feel like, well, my pictures are not good enough because I didn't go to school for it. Here's someone who didn't either. I didn't either, but I've had my pictures used by DC Comics. They featured some of my photos that I've taken of different cosplayers and things like that. So just learn your camera, learn what it can and can't do, and then along with that, be passionate but authentic with anyone you're photographing. Make them feel comfortable. Don't make them feel like they're a number, and don't feel like that they don't matter because they don't have that look that you desire. Because anybody can look amazing in front of a camera if you allow them to.
Yeah, incredible. This is the most inspirational panel I've ever.
I haven't gone yet.
With that said,
please ruin it.
No pressure now. No pressure.
No, but like another D&D adjacent way that you've really carved out a niche space in a really cool way. So.
Yeah, I was when Goblins and Growlers and all of that before that even got started. I mean, the whole thing for me was I had just moved to a new city. I think it was like my 16th time moving in like 3 years. I come from an immigrant family from Belgium, farmers, and I kind of like was very fortunate that my parents kind of carved a path for me, but I didn't also feel like I had a home, so I was bouncing around for a long time trying to find some semblance of community. Like almost everybody who's here, when I was younger, I felt very ostracized, and I couldn't quite figure out if it was me, if it was other things, if it was I just didn't fit in, or if there wasn't space. But of course, as you get older, you start to realize that like, no, there's tons of space. You're gonna meet your people. You're gonna find if you keep chasing, you're gonna find community. But at that time, I hadn't found it yet, and I had moved to Richmond, Virginia, which is where I still am. And I was struggling to find. Oh, hey, RVA, yeah. Also, oh no, it's okay. We'll save that for later. 18 plus. Richmond, and I have played tabletop games since they were introduced to me by my Latin teacher in high school in his basement, which sounds so bad now.
Honestly, this is a hard left.
He took pity on a queer kid in a Christian school who didn't realize he was a queer kid and was struggling with everything that goes along with that. So I got to play my gay superhero in a tabletop game who was totally not me. And yeah,
his name was Shmoam.
I learned my way forward. But I had these. I've been playing tabletop for forever, all through university, and as I'd gone out, and I was like, whenever I'd go to game stores, in the back, there'd always be just like this collection of people who had probably been doing it for a long time and who were fearful of having new people interrupt the thing that they had, and who were gatekeeping their happiness because they were scared of what could happen with that change. And it's, of course, it's taken me a long time to understand the mindset of that. But now knowing it, I'm also really happy that so many people saw that at the same time and started to say, you know what? I'm going to make my own community. I'm not going to sit here and try to hit this door as many times as I can and then be the outsider. I'm done with that. I'm going to see if maybe there are other people like me. And I had worked in TNR, Trap, Neuter, Return. It helps to control feral cat populations within like urban areas. It's really important. It's really important. Tipping the ears and all that jazz. You can talk to me more about it if you want to. But I'd done volunteer work for that and for SPCAs and stuff like that for a very long time. So I was like, I'm gonna run tabletop games at my cat sanctuary. People can pay to play and maybe nobody comes. But if I just get one, then awesome. And then it just spiraled from there until I'm doing all of the things I do. And Channing like hit it on the nail. If you would have told me that I'd be doing what I'm doing now 6 years ago, I'd be like, opt out. You grow, your capacity grows with you. Yeah, it really, I know everyone on this panel can talk about it. Like if you, even a year ago, would say, I'm doing this now, it's always like, what? Why?
Right.
Yeah. I'm so excited for someone else to do this, and then no one else does it.
Yeah.
So like,
right.
You gotta.
Yeah. So I think for me, and it sounds like it echoes a lot, like chasing what you love, and then realizing that other people love it too, and then things build around that. So
yeah, exactly.
We've had some really good advice already. So what do you say we get into the real or die trying of this panel? So if you have a project that you want to do, it's a dream, or you've just started, or you're still conceptualizing it, but you're struggling to find your voice in that space, or trying to find a way to stand out in that space, I guess we'll throw this thing so there's not like a mic to come up. I am not going to throw that thing.
I'm throwing this.
Go ahead.
Dragon Con does not take responsibility for any injuries that may occur from the throwing of this microphone.
Sports.
Yeah.
So go ahead and raise your hand, and we will kind of talk through.
You got a laptop,
I might
you
toss
sure?
it to a couple of our panelists to help you find your space. So I can't get up to.
Yeah.
I'm broken right
I'm
now.
soft tossing this to you. No, we're
Okay.
throwing it. We're
Okay.
throwing it. This is your, oh.
They've got to.
If it's okay, you gonna catch it? No.
I respect the honesty.
If you get this talk box, you're gonna talk right into the X of it, so that everyone on Twitch can also hear you.
Yes.
Hello, Twitch.
There's a
Should-
microphone in this thing?
Yes.
Yes.
When were you gonna mention that?
Never.
It's a microphone.
Surprise.
Surprise.
Yeah. Can I ask this question if I haven't actually started this?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to basically blend my sort of random hobbies together. And I'm not really sure how to do that. For example, writing music and playing video games. I'm thinking about maybe learning video game songs on stream, but countless people already do that. So I thought maybe I could do a spin on it by making weird remixes of video game music on stream, because I have a weird style of creating music. So that's just an example. I'm just asking for suggestions of
First, that
ways to-
sounds sick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like remixed video game soundtracks on Twitch, like I would watch the heck out of that while I'm working.
Yeah.
I don't know, like
And having a mix like my show, we dedicate a day in the month for each thing. Like we have a day of the month that is for Marvel and DC talking about, and we make sure the people on that panel there, we have both DC fans and Marvel fans, and it gets interesting. We also have a day that we, for mental health. We have a day for different things. So you can, if you want to have it that the first Wednesday of the month you want to do, remixing music, do that. And then another day is your day that you're doing, anything gaming. You don't have to restrict it. You just find your day. That way whoever's watching it knows, okay, on Tuesdays I know I can tune in and watch what's your pronouns? Yeah, okay. I want to make sure. I like to be respectful. Watch him remixing these videos, and on Thursday I know I can tune in because he's going to do this.
Yeah.
You can find the day of the week that I want to tune in for that particular thing. So just figure out what day of the week. If you're going to be streaming every day of the week, then which day of the week is going to be what thing? Or is it going to be one day a week for the month, and then figure out which week will be whatever item? And that way your audience can have consistency, because that's what they're looking for. They want to make sure I can always catch you doing X on this particular day or this particular week of the month.
I just wanted to add, because I think I heard you correctly, definitely identify what audience you are trying to reach as well. Try to get as much information for yourself so you can understand your target.
Yes.
Decide if you're making or doing stuff for your love and your passion, or if
Yes.
you are trying to get into a space that actually is in line with other people doing things. That's going to change your trajectory, and how you approach things. What I think everyone did up here, which I love hearing, is they saw that something was missing, and they figured out how to create something to fill that void, and that is very important. I work with a lot of artists in television and film. What I love is that I had a friend that was a producer, and I was going to be a big star when I was younger,
There's still time.
It's still time.
Are you kidding me? Your star is rising, Bar. Let's go.
It was going to be me, Beyonce, Rihanna, the greats. And
Look,
Prince.
they're
just
going to
want
do
you
a
to
Barbie
remember
too
us.
at some point. They're going to do a Barbie too.
So, none of my songs took off the way that I wanted them to. But what I did do for him as I grew bigger in the television and film space, as I said, I couldn't get the songs off the ground would you do music for some of my commercials? Would you do some music for some of the opens for my TV shows? And he said yes. So I was able to help him pivot, get him paid, and actually feel like I was paying him back for the hours he did tracks for me. But anyway, think in that way of how you, what space you want to get into, how you want to approach it. Are you doing it for love or the gram or whatever you're doing it for? It's fine. Just walk that walk and get aligned with that, because I love what you're saying, and I'm hardcore, and I give it to you straight. You want to do this remixing and do it, but for what? Like, tell me why. Why do I care that you want to do that? Once you figure that out, once you can sell the table on why you want to do it, regardless if we get it or not, you can do it. But don't just say you want to do something different and think that it's different and we should care, because it's like, why do I care? So just figure it out.
People are going to back you.
I got two really quick things. One is like, I know how we're all programmed to think, especially when you're seeing all this stuff on like success in social media and things like that. We're programmed to think like, oh, I've got these weird hobbies. Maybe they never go. Like, I liked to catch cats and have their balls snipped off and play games in my Latin teacher's basement. Like, that's what I enjoyed doing. It's not that weird. Whatever it is.
That sounds insane when you describe it that way.
But that's what I did.
Absolutely.
It's not that weird. No matter what it is, it really isn't. And
that is the best dating profile ever, by the way. I'm just saying.
It took about.
That's at the top of my dating profile. It's not, no matter what it is, it's not, it really isn't that weird. You are not that weird. You really aren't. There's weirder people out there, and I go to their noise shows. You're good. So it's like, I really want to make sure that people understand that. And then the second thing is, I think that it's also important, because of what you're talking about, for me to just say, because of that space specifically, consult a lawyer. Consult a lawyer, because you're talking about music on streaming. So there's a lot of Twitch lawyers out there. It's becoming a rising niche. I have one who is my lawyer friend who will do free consultations. If you don't like Noah, if you don't like Noah, coming for you, then it's okay. You can get any of those other Twitch lawyers. I only recommend him because he represents me, and I think I legally have to. That is not legal advice that I just gave, but you should get a lawyer.
No, that's a great point. Anyone else got a project? Oh, we've got in the back.
How's your long throw?
Yeah, who's gonna take that one?
Ready?
Oh gosh.
Here we go.
That was on the line, though.
Butterfinger.
I knew
Butterfingers.
I can't argue on one roof.
It will hit the ceiling.
I was ready. I was going near post on that. I was
flat and low. I like that. That was good.
Charles, fix that in post. Fix it in post.
Fix that. Yeah.
You gotta drive it with power on the end of that.
All right, right into the X on that. Let us know what your project is.
Oh yeah, sorry about the bad catch there.
He's sorry about the bad throw.
It takes two.
So right now I'm working on a comic right now.
What's the name of it? Do you know?
I'm conceptualizing it. It's,
okay, tight.
So I have like two. One, it's about space mercenary, like Metroid, mixed with like Berserk. But like I kind of want to like take the time to write it. But in the meantime, I'm thinking about a weekly thing about like graffiti and like characters based in Miami. I moved from Miami, but Miami is like a place of trauma for me. And so like graffiti is like a way for like to cover up that environment that's just full of like damaged buildings and places that doesn't really like look so viscerally ugly to make it beautiful, because it's coming from the community. But you know, of course, people who does graffiti artists tend to be jailed. They tend to be like systematized, or tend to like be ostracized and stuff, because you know they want the like people who can't really own that property. They build like really ugly gray ass buildings. I'm sorry, can I curse?
You can't, but that's your one. You're good. Yeah. It's a radio rule.
Everybody gets one.
They build really plain gray brutalism buildings that kind of looks like prison, or like this looks so expensive that you can't even like you feel like you're out of place there. So like people who have like a lot of money don't really have the decisions of their own environment, and the places that where they're at is just so ugly and just like so viscerally like violent in a way that kind of makes it like you kind of just want to like, you know, make it beautified, you know, and that's what my idea is. But plus I have like a lot of resentment and trauma, and like that's what I kind of do, and I can't really literally do graffiti because it's like expensive now.
Yeah.
and I don't want to get jailed.
So you're looking to make a comic? Is that?
Yeah.
Did I hear that right? Okay.
Yeah, basically.
Cool.
But like I don't want to go like the webtoons. I hear that that's like an issue right now with like them owning your own IP, and you got forced to like do it like every week, and sometimes you just can't do it week to week, you know.
Yeah.
So I have my website and all, but I'm kind of like a little at a cross of what I need to do. I don't know if that's something I need to pursue or anything like that, so my apologies.
Now, I would say, especially if you go to the diversity and speculative fiction track, they have a lot of speakers that are indie creators that have created their own comics. I know none of us have created comics, but they will probably give you the best insight of which direction you could possibly go, your options, the trials and tribulations. A lot of them have had panels this weekend talking about those things. So they're, if you missed any of those, you can also find them in the Artist Alley. Vendor Hall, you'll see like Marcus Williams and Greg Burnham, who does Tuskegee Airs. You could talk with them. They, you know, are highly known. They came up with a concept, made their own comic, and it's, you know, they're seen at various TJ Sterling is also here. Several indie creators that are just like yourself that had a concept, maybe a little different from what's already out there from DC and Marvel or any of the big companies, but they created their own comic and they're highly known, and they developed their own fan base that look for them for that. So definitely stop by Artist Alley that is in the Merrimark buildings, and definitely talk with them, and they can give you a great insight of what to do as you're developing your path as an indie creator.
Yeah.
Okay, and if I can ask some advice, if it's okay, put your pain into your art. What you said back there about the trauma, I'm sorry that you went through it, but that's going to make for a great story. It's going to make for a great comic. So as I deal with my staff and they're writing and we're doing storytelling, you can't have a person that does not have protagonists and antagonist traits. I don't want to read a one-track story. You have everything. You have trauma in something that makes you feel comfortable and calm and beautiful in that space. As for creating the item, I love what Dana said. Definitely talk to those people. But as for anyone creating something, it doesn't have to be rushed. You can create the comic and you can push it and perfect it. That could be a year or 2 years of you creating buzz, of you getting people on board for the comic. Please don't create it and think that everyone is supposed to love you in the first month and buy you out and you're a famous sensation. That can't happen. It can happen.
That's why it's rare.
Has that happened to any of us? Right. No. So
Not yet.
Not yet. That's a good word. Thank you. So not yet, but you know, you can take your time to get there. But in those steps, you can start thinking of other ways to put your stuff out and keep it at the top of people's mind with things that you do. Create vignettes, create scenarios where you're putting your stuff out. Maybe drop a page a week or a page a month. You know, whatever you can do. It doesn't have to be the traditional.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say like one of the things that I love about like graffiti in general is the like ephemeral nature of it, right? Like it's there, but then it's not anymore. And so what if you're borrowing from like mixtape culture and you're dropping, you know, a 3-4 page comic and that's it, and then like it's got a run of 10 and people see it and then it's gone, and then like the next one is a run of 10 and then all of a sudden those 10 are gone immediately, right? Because that's how it goes. And then you know, like, okay, cool. Like next steps, right? Like it can be Kinko's, it can be like physical media can like still exist, right?
Like a zine.
Yeah, like a zine would be sick, right? Like
And they're coming
creating
back.
demand through limitation is cool.
Zine is definitely.
Dude, I can tell you right now, I got so many zines.
There are football supporter zines out now. Like
I've got so many cassettes. I've got like.
What about those 8 tracks?
Oh, dude, honestly, it blows me away. But
everything old is new again.
And scarcity is important too. I honestly, I think like one of the coolest things about creating, if you're somebody, and I really feel like everybody in this room, the reason why you're here is you're this people. If you're somebody who creates, you're gonna keep creating. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what walls you hit. It's kind of like just, I don't know. It's just part of your DNA.
It's both exciting and depressing.
There's honestly, there's a lot of difficulties that come with that mindset. I mean, I think a lot of us have a lot of challenges that we run into that we're not wired for because we are wired to be driven to create things. But if you are and you want to just continue to create and not get hung up on things, doing things in like short runs and short bursts and seeing if they connect with people is a really good way to do it, because financially it's great for you because you don't have to sit there and hope that you're like, okay, I really hope that people want this and that they're size large, because if they're not, then you know, I mean, like,
God, I printed 20,000 books. What am I gonna do?
If you do short runs and you do limited things, I mean, you can see there's so many communities now that are dedicated to that, where people are waiting for that drop, and they're like, dude, I'm gonna get on this drop because I know that in 24 hours there ain't gonna be nothing left. And I like swear by that, and I also swear by that because I'm in a bunch of like anti-fascist punk band communities, which is like all this stuff that half of these patches, like I walk by 1% DragonCon, I was like, oh snap, you got that? Like that was a run of 10. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. So I think there's something really to be said about like creating, just if you know that it's just gonna keep going, and it sounds, especially the way you're talking, I'm like, you're gonna just keep creating. Just hit it. Small runs, build it up.
Yeah. All right, do we have one more question? Whoa,
we got a couple
hands,
more.
I saw the purple hat first. Also, you love Lost, so.
Do I pass it?
Pass that mic over.
Or you can pass it back to me and I'll
you can throw it up, we'll throw it back. It's up to you.
What have you got brewing?
Hey, so I noticed like a lot of the panelists were talking about like a lot of the work they do that they're passionate about, but also some of you have 9-to-5s and everything else. And I also surround myself around a lot of different other creatives. I'm a creative myself. What I've experienced recently is like burnout. Where like I literally now I work in a position where I create. That's my 9-to-5, and I'm like, I love it, but it's the demand around it too. And sometimes, even though I'm so passionate, you laugh. Even though I'm so passionate about the work, it becomes the work. And I start to lose the passion.
I would love to toss this to Channing, because I know if it's okay to share, like you've kind of gone through this very recently, so if you would.
You don't want to talk about your own trauma?
I don't. Thank you.
Steph turns the spotlight.
Yes. No pressure. It's funny, everybody talks about self-care like it's this bad thing, but there's something to be said for keeping your own mental health in check. Having to pivot or having to pause is not a bad thing. I launched my podcast, Smarty Art Brother, did 4 or 5, what I'm told were really good episodes, and then I started having trouble getting other guests and getting more of the technical side. And then I have a full-time job, and also I got married not even a year ago. Woo! And yes, bought a house, moved halfway across the country. That eats up a lot of your time. So I did have to stop, but I didn't stop it totally. I'm kind of pivoting and changing it. And part of that is, okay, how can I do this and maintain it while not losing my sanity, and also staying married, because I would like to make it. I'd like to make it at least a year.
At least 1 year.
Yeah.
After that, it's like bonus.
Trying to hit that 1 year, and it's really bad because my parents like my wife more than me at this point. But
so you gotta hold on.
I've got to hold on. But there is nothing wrong with if you need to kind of pivot and change the priorities. That is not a failure. That is just you saying, okay, I need to maybe change a few things up. The Titanic. If the Titanic had just gone 10 degrees in another direction, that's not a failure. That's them changing course so they wouldn't hit the damn iceberg. That's my one. So yeah, you're just kind of changing it so that you're not hitting that iceberg.
Yeah, also quitting is success. If you decide you're done and then you're done, you did it.
Yeah.
That's good. You won.
I've read an article the other day. There was this couple. They started a business. It became this $1 million industry. I wish I could remember what it was. But then they realized they weren't spending any time with their families anymore. Barely any time together, and they were a husband and wife. So they stepped back. They started delegating a lot more. They still own the business. They're not crazy. But they definitely stepped back and said, okay, I need some help to bring this in so that we can spend more time with our family. So, no, it is by no means a failure. You just got to kind of prioritize and pivot where you need to pivot.
Exactly.
I wanted to add, look, I'm giving my unwanted advice all the time. I just wanted to add that I was listening to you. I was hearing the burnout because it became work. And luckily you said it in your testimony of what you were doing. My suggestion for you is to potentially or try or talk to friends to tap into the things that you were passionate about that you would do if you got $0 or $2 million. And that's going to potentially help recharge you in or passing on some of your skill set and know-how to somebody else like a mentee helps recharge you as well. That way you can reignite that fire in you sometimes if you take those approaches. I just did that. I was burnt out, but I got this wonderful class of mentors that came to the studio, and at first I was like, are you crazy? You want me to sit with these people on Fridays? I'm going home on Fridays. Are you sick? And they were like, yeah, Friday. So I was like, but they came in and I taught them how to put together a pitch for a television show. And I hadn't done that in a while. And that tapped into my energy, and I was thinking about some of the stuff that I didn't finish or that I wanted to complete. And it went from work, and I was with them to 7 or 8. I was keeping them beyond the time they were supposed to leave. So I do think that you should tap into, if you can, and maybe somebody around you knows, into those things that really inspired you when they said, oh, I used to love when you did this when you were 17 or 18 or 6. And look at those things and get away from the whole money aspect of it, because you got that down. Just get that juice back. Get that passion and that love back for something.
And we're running up on time. I think that's a really good space to end, because a lot of the things y'all have said have really centered on, I wanted to do this and this is my passion, and so I carved out a space for me to do that. We are going to be hanging around for a couple minutes. Some of us might be hanging around for a couple minutes after this, so if you didn't get a chance to ask your question, we will get to you then. But I want to give everyone a chance to what do you need, Charles?
I want to see Alon catch the box.
Oh my God.
Make sure that
I thought you had a question on how to find your niche.
No, you got. Look at those oars.
You got this.
Look at those guns. You got this.
Right in the face.
Right. Oh, redemption.
All right. Well, now that we've shown incredible athletic prowess as well as excellent advice up here, I want everyone, just let everyone know where people can find you and follow you on the internet so that they can follow up on some of these conversations or maybe ask some things that you didn't get a chance to in the time that we had. Mike, go ahead.
You can find me everywhere on the internet at Future X Skeleton, because right now I'm alive, but who knows in the future.
You can find me as under Danique, Danique.
Oh, it's like unique.
Yes. It's Dana and Unique combined. Yes. Danique Events. That's where you can reach out to me. And my link tree is Linktree/Danique Events. You'll find links to go to Moana Nui Podcast, find out upcoming episodes, also link to see our YouTube channel, see our past episodes, also the BOP, so you can tune in and see Karen Ashley and that crew cut it up. And then also links to my different social medias that you can see some of my photography work and some of the things that I'm involved in.
Awesome. Alon?
My personal is the Dungeon Meowster. Go there if you want to see a lot of pictures of feral cats that I'm taking care of, or if you want to get involved in some type of weird charity, you can message me there. You can message me there anytime about anything. I'll give you a lot of wrong answers, and every now and again I write one. Yeah, if I know something about it. But most of the stuff that I do creatively, you can find through Goblins and Growlers or through some things I can't talk about. So there we go. Yeah, I know. It makes you sound really important, and it's just not. It's NDA'd right now. Yeah.
Amazing.
Respect.
Channing?
Yeah.
You can find me at onlyfans.com/sexytoes.
We're doing a collab.
Yes. We're gonna get some cats involved too.
Exactly.
So
I'll be taking the pictures.
yes, there we go.
Everything comes together.
I can't wait to talk about what they're wearing.
So my personal account is just Channing Sherman. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. My podcast, which will be coming back in about a week or two, is just Smarty Art Bro on Twitter. And my group is Black Geeks at Dragon Con. Search for us on Facebook, Twitter, and all the good places.
Amazing.
Awesome. You can find me at Bar Fox, that's with 2 R's and 2 X's, or at Cosplay Your Way, and that is across all social media platforms.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Please remember to donate to the Dragon Con charity Cure. Please scan the one of the QR codes up here. It'll take you to the digital media track Linktree where you can join our Discord, have more of these chats. And please, 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 if you enjoyed this panel, rate it on the app so that we can maybe do more of this next year.
Steph, where can people find you?
Y'all can find me on the internet at Kruggles. I've got a QR code up here if you want to scan it, 'cause I got a lot of long list. Let's give a huge round of applause for these panelists. They were incredible. And a huge round of applause for all of you. Make those things happen or die trying.
Yes.
Thanks y'all so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.